I would just like to express my thanks to County Manager Biella and their directors and staff for their work on the budget. I know it's been a long and difficult process. We appreciate the comments from members of the public about keeping the numbers down, and I really feel that our staff have done their best to keep the numbers down. The county budgets are really not really the same as municipal budgets when you consider that we carry the cost of the Union County Courthouse, a hospital, a jail, a juvenile detention center. All of these things are things that are shared by the municipalities, and so they have to be included in the county budget, and I think that people who worked on the budget did a very good job. I also would like to thank the Adoptive Park volunteers who came out to work in our parks in the last week or so, especially the Summit YMCA, Merck employees, students at Kane University, the Phi Alpha Theta members of Union County College, Girl Scouts who work from the towns around Echo Lake Park, including Westfield and Mountainside, and Boy Scouts from Clark and other towns, and Winfield who worked on the Rolway River Park in Winfield, and also to the students who came out on Arbor Day to plant trees. It was a widespread effort that happens every spring, but we had very good participation this year, and we really appreciated it. It helps, especially since we had the staff cuts last year, and so there's more work to do, but not quite as many people to do it, and volunteers are very helpful. I would ask, a lot of us receive requests from people around the county, and I would just ask that residents please be patient as far as the requests for work around their municipalities. We are backed up. The storm set us back, but our parks and public works staff are really doing the very best they can. I'd also like to just offer a little correction. It was mentioned from the floor about David Wright, that he was the former mayor of Westfield. He was actually the former mayor of Winfield. We did offer a condolence resolution, and he was someone who we missed throughout the Union County community. And I also offer condolences to the family of Elizabeth Wheeler. Her mother, Joan Wheeler, recently retired as administrator of Ronald's Hospital. And that's it for me. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Freeholder Wright.
Thank you. I'd like to congratulate our chairperson, Carter, because she was recognized by the Salvation Army of Greenfield, and we think that was an honor. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Last evening, I had an opportunity to attend the first annual Outstanding Women Leaders at Union County College with the chairperson Carter and Freeholder Kowalski. The celebration was established to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the federal law, Title IX, that was passed in 1972. The keynote speaker, who at one time was a Union County resident, was the highlight of the evening. And awards were presented to outstanding female students from throughout Union County. And I'd like to congratulate the college on the wonderful job that they did. It was a dynamic program. Thank you.
Thank you. Freeholder Mirabella.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chairwoman. I'd like to speak a little bit on Preserve Union County grants that will be going out to our municipalities and nonprofit organizations tomorrow. This is the 6th round of these Preserve Union County grants that fall under the Union County Open Space, Recreation, and Historic Preservation Trust Fund. Since 2000, despite the economic crisis in 2008, Preserve Union County has continued to help Union County residents save their most treasured and historically valuable civic landmarks, some dating back to of the birth of our nation, the Revolutionary War times. I'd like to thank all of those who have supported this trust fund throughout the years, and best of luck to the municipalities and the nonprofit organizations as they apply for the grant funds made available in 2013. The only other comment, Madam Chair, I'd like to make is reference to the budget. Many thanks to our fiscal chairman, Sullivan, and the finance committee here in Union County, to the county manager and the directors, particularly Director Taylor, who has done a fine job with what continues to be a challenging economic environment and a challenging budget to reconcile year after year. This budget is presented to us with no layoffs, which I'm very proud to be able to say. It was a very difficult time for all of us sitting up here last year when our budget did include layoffs. So I'm happy that we do not have them in this year's budget. And it also keeps essential services in place for our county residents. We continue to be on the right track and the correct track with this budget, and I look forward to working with my colleagues as Vice Chairman Hudak said, and we established last year, not too long before that the budget process is no longer a 3 or 4 month process, but a 12-month process. And he's right, and that's our philosophy. And I continue to urge the directors and the county manager to continue to look for ways to save this county money. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Fielder Bergen?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to just make a real brief comment on one thing that Mr. Bittner said. I'm sure he inadvertently misspoke when he talked about the misdeeds at Birdsall and Union County. I just want everyone to be clear that there's no charge that any improper donations were given to anyone in Union County.
I never said that.
Okay. I thought it was inadvertent, but it did appear that you might have said that.
I did not.
I just wanted to make that clear. I do want to also add my condolences to the family of Dave Wright from Winfield. When I first got involved in politics and government in Union County in 1978, Dave was already a fixture. So I've known him a very long time, and we didn't always agree, we didn't always see the same side of issues, but he was always a gentleman and a friend, and he will be missed. I did want to also thank the board for their support of Resolution 2013-315, which was requested by our Air Traffic Noise Advisory Board, requesting the FAA to perform an updated environmental impact statement review concerning the flight patterns at Newark Airport. This is a problem that's been going on for decades and has a potential for a major negative impact on the residents of Union County. And I think that asking this step of the FAA is an important one, and I'm sure that board will appreciate it, as do I, as this board's representative to them. Finally, I did want to advise the public that we have another in our series of sensory-friendly theater projects coming up. This will be taking place at the Union County Performing Arts Center in June in the downtown Broadway Arts District. There will be a family-friendly rock and roll performance by Ralph's World, which is a musical creation of Ralph Covert. He's a nationally renowned recording artist and an advocate for children's music education. And we're very happy to have him coming here to perform in Union County. For those of you who don't know, sensory-friendly theater is especially designated for persons with autism and other forms of sensitivity, so they can enjoy the musical experience of a live performance in a relaxed, judgment-free atmosphere. For anyone who's interested in purchasing tickets, you can call the box office at 732-499-8226 or go to their website, ucpac.org, ucpac.org. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder Jallo?
Thank you, Chairman. I just want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues in thanking the county manager, fiscal committee, and Director Taylor and all the directors for their hard work in finding savings in our budget, finding places where we could save taxpayers dollars. I also further commend Director Taylor for the hard work and repeatedly coming up to the podium to, at sometimes, repeat the same thing over and over again. We hear you clearly. We thank you for your expertise. You know, I caution and urge the residents not to compare the county budget to a municipal budget. That's like apples and oranges. Certainly two separate entities, two separate requirements, two separate budgets. I've heard you repeat over and over again how this is under 2% cap, how it's a different standard, and I believe that the repeated questions probably reflect a lack of understanding of that, or perhaps questions that are disingenuous. So I want to thank you again for coming up here and repeating those to the public so that it's understood, and look forward to this part of the process being done for now, and moving forward on working towards next year's budget and seeing what we can do with regard to that. Thank you.
Thank you. Rio Estrada?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I given my comments to the actual budget. There's no doubt that every budget is strictly a guideline as to which direction we're heading. There is no doubt that over the year we have been working very hard to try to control or contain our expenditures. But that being said, at the same time, there's always room for improvement. And I know that we have gone out to our directors, to everyone, to understand and to be looking for those specific areas where opportunities can be gained. And this is not an easy task. I was involved for numerous years in the Finance Committee. I know how difficult it is. But the reality is that it is a philosophy that we are trying to support through this budget. And that's very important, because there are many people in this county who have necessities that are met only because, the mere fact, the government is willing to fund those circumstances. And I know that in many cases these are not popular items or popular things, but the reality is that we need to look at our county as people who no doubt participate, but at the same time have needs that we need to acquire. By that I mean young people, I mean seniors, I mean people who are disadvantaged. All of those things are very important, and I truly believe that this budget tries to address as many of those situations as it can. I want to commend the committee for working extremely hard to make this happen. I think more so than in previous years. I think this committee has been meeting since last year and trying to achieve some of those goals. Of course, Ms. Taylor, who has already a new employee in Union County, who has admirably shown that she can do the job. She has what it takes. She has the patience, which is very important in terms of being a director in this county, to understand what people need, as well as Rafaela, our county manager, who, even though he sits here very quietly, I know he's the whip behind ensuring that some of these things get done. And all the other directors that work very hard and have to address the issues where we're questioning their expenditures. And we do that all the time. I know that maybe members of the audience don't necessarily give us credit for that, but I know differently. And that's why I could sit here and say, well, you know, that's just the way life is. But the reality is, when the day is over, Union County is aggressively helping people meet their needs. And that's something that I know that many counties cannot do. Very often, you know, you hear comparisons between Union County and other counties. Very often we hear Morris, who had great reserves. I remember when we had $26 million in reserve years ago, they had $195 million in reserves. Our intention has been to be prudent in the amount of money that we reserve, because that's what it requires for our operational budget. Beyond that, we try to minimize. We're not taking taxpayers' money and putting it away for use at a later date. So, again, I thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Anything else? So we're going to go to Vice Chair though this time. Yes. Not county council yet, we'll
Oh,
go to
okay.
vice chair. We're like
Uh,
county council
you-
towards the end.
You threw me off, Chairman. Just a couple comments. First of all, just a quick announcement on senior outreach. I'm pleased to announce that trained staff from our Department of Human Services will be out in the community this spring to conduct a series of 4 information sessions with senior citizens. These events are designed to help seniors learn about all the forms of assistance for which they qualify, and our staff will also provide one-on-one help in the navigation of the application process. These sessions will begin on May the 9th at the Summit Public Library, and they will continue through June in Westfield, Mountainside, and Linden. Persons with disabilities may also qualify for some of these programs, even if they are not senior citizens. If you have any questions about your eligibility, or if you'd like details about the outreach sessions, please call the toll-free number at the Union County Division of Aging and Disability Resource Connection. That number is 888-280-8226. Turning our attention to the budget, I wanted to again commend the other members of the fiscal committee as well as the entirety of this board. Last year was a very difficult session where we actually not only did we have to find cuts within the budgets, but we also had to let a large number of employees go. That did not have to happen this time. We did not see a wholesale reduction in county service to the public in this budget year, and we should be, we're very hopeful as we continue through our budget process over the next few years that we will be able to really cut into that structural deficit by finding efficiencies in a lot of the programs that we have. Not to get into an argument here, but what the heck. Some comments were made a little while ago about the ARC, and they were just, they're ignorant of what happened 2 years ago. And if you check the record in 2011, I made quite a few comments about our governor's decision into the 2011 meetings, but that's neither here nor there. If beyond the fact that we are decades away now from the one seat train ride to Manhattan, the effects of that, yes, short-sighted decision by the governor continue to reverberate. We are at best a decade away from having a expansion of rail service in this part of New Jersey, in this county, and that has a direct correlation. We can talk about costs. The governor claimed that he pulled the plug because it was a $12 billion program that was about to become a $14 billion program. Well, if it ever gets constructed in 10 to 20 years, it might as well be a $20 or $30 billion construction program. Not to mention thousands, tens of thousands of lost construction jobs, residual jobs, tax dollars that would have come into Union County communities that would have built up businesses in this region. And if we were talking about property taxes, let's talk about the fact that it would have made those homes that are near those train stations more valuable and would have had a direct correlation to property values for Union County homeowners. So the word short-sighted, I know what it means, and what this governor has done in regard to the ARC, as well as other programs, and we're talking about the budget. Let's talk about the failure of the administration to properly fund pensions in the state of New Jersey while imposing those restrictions on municipalities and county government. We want to talk about the tax. Let's talk about diverting the utility funds that had been going to the municipalities and taking that and putting that into the state budget, forcing municipalities to further tighten their budget. Let's talk about this year, diverting recycling dollars